Okay, so this is our second review video for the Great Kingdoms of Africa. If you're trying to catch up on this entire section, then you should watch the video about Ghana first, right? But if you did watch the other video, you'll remember that Ghana was known for having a lot of rich resources and trading. So after Ghana fell, we're going to move into the next great kingdom of Africa, which was called Mali. Before we do that, I want to give us a quick reminder on some of our vocabulary words. Right, so we talked in the last video about Berbers, right? If you remember, Berbers were North African people who established trade routes through West Africa, meaning that Berbers were people from North Africa who set up the paths people would take to trade their resources. All right, next we have kingdom. Right, I keep talking about the great kingdoms of West Africa, but what does that mean? So a kingdom is a country, state, or territory ruled by a king or queen. Right, look at that root word. A kingdom is ruled by a king or queen, right? So you'll remember that it's ruled by royalty because the word king is in the name. Trade routes. Remember, the Berbers set up trade routes, and what we mean by trade routes is specific areas where trading salt, gold, metals, shells, and slaves occurred. So just the specific areas that people used when they were trading their resources. Lastly, we have the word herders. All right, which I don't think we talked about much in the last video, but herders are people who traveled with their herd of animals looking for food and supplies. Right, this is another word where our root word can help us. Herders were people who traveled with their herd of animals. All right, so like I said before, after the Ghana Empire fell, the Mali Empire rose. So, like Ghana, Mali is still set up around the Niger River, which is this blue line on the map. You'll notice it's the same area that we looked at before. So that means Mali also was able to benefit from having that fertile soil that made it easy for them to grow a lot of crops and food. Right? And again, similar to Ghana, Mali, being near the Niger River, was still able to control trade. Right? They had this river that made it really easy for them to trade their resources and become powerful. And people think that Mali originally rose to power in a very different way than Ghana, where it was under a ruler named Sandiari who won his country's independence by conquering other kingdoms, including Ghana. But we're not so sure about that. All right, you'll see last time we were talking about Ghana, which is right here. Mali is not far away from that. You'll see the bottom of my flag is touching Mali. They're in the same general area of West Africa. So when we talk about the Mali Empire, we talk a lot about their most famous ruler. Okay, and his name is Mansa Musa. Right, it might help you to remember that Mali starts with an M and Mansa Musa also starts with an M. Right, so Mansa Musa, the ruler of Mali. Mansa Musa was also a Muslim king. So think of all of the M words that go together. Mali is ruled by the Muslim king named Mansa Musa. Okay, under his leadership, Mali reached the height of its wealth, power, and fame, meaning that it became the most powerful that it has ever been. All right, so why is Mansa Musa so famous? Well, what he did was for 25 years, he ruled Mali. And during those 25 years, he set up a lot of trade cities because, like we talked about, trading was what made these kingdoms so rich, including Timbuktu, Djenné, and Gao. So traders would come to Timbuktu, which was part of Mali, from all over the place to trade for all of these goods. So we're in the same area as Ghana. You'll remember that both of our kingdoms so far are becoming rich through trading resources and their fertile soil. So something else that Mansa Musa brought to his kingdom that's a little different during the Mali Empire is that he was very religious and his religion meant a lot to him. So Mansa Musa left Mali to go on a Hajj, right? And when I say Hajj, that word is a pilgrimage to Mecca, right? That still sounds a little confusing. So I want to break that down. He was very religious. So Mansa Musa left Mali to go on a Hajj. A Hajj is when people who are Muslim go on a journey, a tough journey to go see a religious place that they think of as sacred. Okay? In the Muslim faith, that place is Mecca. So they take a pilgrimage or journey to a sacred place called Mecca. Right? So when Mansa Musa traveled to Mecca, he was able to introduce people who worked in Mali to the Mali Empire. And he would tell them all about his lovely kingdom and how they were so rich and religious. And because of him, you'll see in our red words, because of Mansa Musa, Islam spread through a large part of West Africa, right? So he actually made it so that more people in West Africa joined his religion of Islam. Right? This part is super important. So if you got distracted, refocus. Mansa Musa, being Muslim and practicing the religion of Islam, really changed the way that the people under the Mali Empire lived because he wanted everyone to be able to read the Quran, right, which is the religious text for people who are Muslim. So, in order for people to read the Quran, he made sure that everybody learned how to read and write. Right? And because of this, people started setting up schools. Right? Before, most people didn't know how to read or write. Most common people wouldn't know how to do that. They didn't have to go to school. Right? But Mansa Musa said, listen, I want everyone to be able to read this religious text so everybody will learn how to read and write. We'll set up schools so people can learn to do so. This is just a reminder of some of our vocabulary words that I'll go through really quickly. So a Hajj, right? That brand new word. A Hajj is a pilgrimage or religious journey to Mecca, which is a sacred place. So we have Mansa Musa. Hopefully we know him by now. Mansa Musa was the successful leader of Mali. Okay, and we'll remember that he ruled Mali because of all of the M's. Mansa Musa was the Muslim leader of Mali, right? M. Right, Islam, or Mali, whoops, Mali's next. Mali was a kingdom in West Africa, known for riches and education. So it's the kingdom we've been talking about that Mansa Musa is the king of, that is known for being really rich and for people learning how to read and write, which is part of education. Right? Islam is a religion that was promoted by Mansa Musa that is still practiced today. So if you don't usually hear the word Islam, you might just hear it more often referred to as people who are Muslim. Okay? So Mansa Musa was Muslim, which means he practiced the religion of Islam. Lastly, this one we've been talking about for a while. Niger is a river in West Africa where the Great Kingdom settled. So all three great kingdoms that we talk about will be based around the Niger River. Okay, this Brain Pop video you are able to watch on your own. If you open up the Pear Deck for this, in your Google Classroom, you'll be able to check this out on your own. I will not put in this video, the Brain Pop. Okay, and then I just want to reiterate that Mansa Musa, right? I'm going to repeat that Mansa Musa not only had people learn how to read and write, right? He put an emphasis on education, but he also cared a lot about arts, right? And architecture, which means the way that you build buildings, right? Because he was so well traveled, he was able to get inspiration from all of these other communities. So Mansa Musa was able to make architectural advances, meaning he made better buildings in the Kingdom of Mali. He organized their government and he put an emphasis on education. And he made trading even better, right? So he was a really big deal. If we were to answer this question, he did want everyone to learn to read and write. He did build beautiful religious buildings called mosques. He did improve trade and built wealth for Mali. So it was all of the choices. He did a lot for his empire. And then you'll see Ghana is up here. Mali's very close to that. Mali's this bigger empire with the green shading. I'm kind of coloring in now with red. All right, awesome. So this is the second great empire that we talk about, the great empire of Mali. First there was Ghana, then there was Mali. Next we'll be talking about Songhai. All right, let me know if you have any questions.